So those of you who haven't been to one of these before, it's a little bit of a shuffle because the members of Congress who come can usually only be here for a few minutes. They're running to a lot of events. So we'll kind of pull in awards and folks as we get people coming in. Mary Ellen and Jean do a great job with Sean and Rob of coordinating this thing. And I kind of stand up here and try to figure out which piece of paper I'm supposed to talk about. So where are we starting?
We can start with the comments about here if you want to do
Well, let's do Mike Bremer, because I think poor Mike had to sit last night through that entire award ceremony, waiting, and then got to speak at the very end. So we'll flip it and have you go first.
The greatest round of applause.
That's true.
That's true. And I'm not unbiased, but I say he absolutely deserved it. So Mike from the Southwest Conservation Corps, the Veteran Fire Corps. Mike returned from serving his country in Iraq with Army infantry. He found the transition to civilian life difficult. He felt he didn't have a purpose, and trying to find something meaningful was tough for him. But he joined the Southwest Conservation Corps Veteran Fire Corps, found a new purpose, developed a valuable skill set. His hard work and leadership abilities saw him promoted to crew leader, and then he was able to go from that to get a job with the Forest Service, working as a sawyer and wildland firefighter, and then moved up there to be the lead sawyer on his Forest Service crew. So congratulations, Mike.
I'm all out. Thanks. It's great to be here, and it's good to hang out and meet all you Corps members of the year. Love you guys.
Okay. There you go.
Almost like a wedding.
It's not allowed this now.
All right. Oh. Well, this one we don't even have a script for. It's that important. We have a Federal Champion Award of looking for someone within the agencies who has done a huge amount to benefit the movement. We've been very privileged the last 3 years to have a director of the National Park Service who understands what we do, who believes in the work of Corps, who has supported Corps throughout his time when he was a regional director in the Pacific West region and then at the national level, and that's Jonathan Jarvis. He has been looking at finding ways to dedicate more funding to what we do, and has a strategy that he and George McDonald, who's going to represent the Park Service today, have been doing to take part of the regular maintenance funds and dedicate it to the work of conservation corps. So Jonathan Jarvis has absolutely been a champion for everything that we do, and very pleased to give that award to the director. And George, I think, is going to come up and receive it. And are you here with the Park Service?
Yes, but not for this one.
Okay.
Here we go.
Great timing is everything.
Well, that was perfect timing. I don't even know what you walked into. One of our congressional champions is Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. who's been giving us a lot of support both here in Washington and back in Alaska. She is the ranking member of the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources, where she has supported the existing Public Land Corps program, as well as voting in favor of the Public Land Service Corps Act, which is pending in the Senate and would expand the existing program. She worked very closely with Senator Bingaman to move this through the committee. Now it's on the Senate floor, so we're hoping to have some, well, we're hoping to get it to the Senate floor, but it is out of committee. So moving on that. And then in Alaska, she's been very helpful with SAGA, Southeast Alaska Guidance Association, that runs the Corps based in Juneau. And then SCA has a new office in Anchorage that Senator Murkowski has been very supportive there. She visited the SCA crew earlier in the year, some nice photos there, but a great supporter. And I don't believe she's here or one of her representatives. So what do we do with that? We'll just applaud her.
Thank you.
All right. So here we have Congressman Amedee from Nevada. Why don't you come up, and our friends from the Nevada Conservation Corps, and we're going to recognize the Nevada Conservation Corps' Desert Tortoise Line Distance Sampling Project. This was one of our projects of the year. One of the greatest impacts the Corps can have is saving and rehabilitating endangered species and habitats. The Great Basin Institute, which runs the Nevada Conservation Corps, their Desert Tortoise Line Distance Sampling Project is a good example of this. The desert tortoise was listed as a threatened species, so the Fish and Wildlife Service initiated a partnership with Great Basin Institute to track population density of tortoise throughout the range in the Mojave Desert, southern Nevada, and parts of Arizona and Utah. Corps members had an opportunity to learn and become certified to handle desert tortoise to gain experience in public land management. Corps members who completed the program developed technical skills that make them marketable when seeking future employment opportunities. 10 Corps members from the team are employed in renewable energy industry or working for private environmental consulting firms. Very impressive project. It was neat seeing the pictures on Sunday. So congratulations, and let's give a round of applause. Let's let the Congressman say a few words.
I know you didn't come here to hear me speak, so I won't disappoint you. Thank you very much. My congratulations to the folks who have taken care of this. It's kind of near and dear to my heart because my daughter has adopted a desert tortoise through the certified programs, didn't go pick one up by the roads. So she was very excited to hear that we were doing this morning, and thank you folks for your help. And it's another example of the desert tortoise was a challenge, I believe, 20 years ago, as far back as that. And what are you going to do? And it's an example of people meeting the issue head on, dealing with it based on facts and science, and creating a success out of that. So thank you to the organization, and thank you folks for your help.
JR, you ready? Oh, you're waiting for your folks.
Oh, no, they're not.
Okay, so you're good? Okay. All right, so we're going to recognize J.R. Daniels from Sustainability Institute Energy Conservation Corps. Due to his criminal record, J.R. found himself unable to find steady employment, but he found the Sustainability Institute's Energy Conservation Corps, where he developed weatherization skills, was promoted to crew leader, served as a target-driven weatherization technician and mentor for other Corps members, and I think mentor to a lot of us who've been learning from you the last few days. You're courted by potential employers well before his service term ended, but chose JR, stayed with ECC, finished his service hours in order to receive an education award. and then was hired by Carolina Green Energy Systems, where he established himself as one of their leading weatherization technicians, and then, as we heard yesterday, started his own company to provide weatherization services for low-income families in Charleston. Very impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What the award is?
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Okay, so we had the Corps Members of the Year for their members of Congress. We had a certificate made up just saying they're Corps Member of the Year for 2012 with the Corps Network, and had a flag flown over the United States Capitol. We're presenting them now. So we also had Carol Holes had cases delivered so they can be displayed. So you guys are all getting American flags. You can fly them if you want, put them on display. The certificate just saying you're Corps Member of the Year. It's got your member of Congress's name. So again, congratulations to all of you.
All right, let's have the Urban Corps of San Diego come on. Where's, I saw Sam this morning at about 5 a.m. in the lobby, which is 2 a.m. though.
I was waiting for you, Harry.
Yeah. I'm an hour easier than you, coming from California. We heard about this program as well on Sunday, which was very impressive. Wildfires are a danger to people and property throughout the country, especially in the West and in California. And many corps are working on these projects and training young people. What was really neat about what Urban Corps of San Diego did is it not only worked to prevent wildfires, but provided training for 300 corps members in this program, which is a huge number of young people who were benefited. Through the program, they got $1.1 million of our funding, matched it with WIA dollars, Workforce Investment Act, 2 federal programs that are very important to many of us, and ended up with $1.7 million worth of funding to train the young people on fire fuel reduction. And in addition to training these 300 young people, they created 250 acres of fire defensible space in San Diego County, likely helping thousands of residents and saving them from fire. So great project. I love the picture of, it was just one team, but they look really cool. So congratulations. So we had one of our other congressional champions, I'm told, is not able to come because she had to meet with Nancy Pelosi. So we'll give her an excuse for that one. Nydia Valquet.
Velasquez.
Lydia has been a vocal advocate for those who have no voice in Washington, calling for housing of the homeless, jobs for the unemployed, aid for struggling small businesses, and education and economic opportunity for disadvantaged youth. She's been a huge supporter of AmeriCorps, workforce development programs, and environmental justice. She's co-sponsor of 2 of our most important bills, the Youth Corps Act and the Public Land Corps Act, and she recently introduced something called the Civic Justice Corps Act that would provide funding to community-based organizations for alternatives to incarceration and reentry programs for court-involved youth. Her district is back in Brooklyn and Lower Manhattan in New York City, and she's worked quite a bit with Green City Force and worked on projects such as New York City Cool Roofs, Planters Grove, and the Bill and Melinda Gates and Open Society Foundation's Post-Secondary Success Initiative. So thank you very much. Let's give our hand. Maurice, I hear you're going to meet with Congressman at 11:30, the one we just talked about, whose name I just in butchering, so I'm gonna be careful on. So let's talk, Maurice was at Green City Force, which is one of the programs that she was supporting, and you saw a flyer in your building and went to join the program, was selected from a pool of 200 applicants, which is what many of us have, huge applicant pools, and we're only able to select a few small folks. Start a rigorous training schedule for green jobs preparation and enrolling in remedial ed and continuing to care for your mother and nieces. Bring your nieces to school each morning. Maurice spent the majority of his time on the Green City Force's Clean Empower team, performing energy audits and education in low-income homes. As a result of his skills, excellent work ethic, and leadership abilities, Maurice interviewed with Community Environmental Center for a permanent position and plans to use the skills and abilities he's gained at the Corps to pursue a career in building energy to help homeowners save money and energy on their utilities. Congratulations, Maurice.
I just want to say a little quickly, thank you, Byron, for enhancing my experience here in Washington, D.C. You did an amazing job. You're number one. I'd like to thank Green City Force for giving me this opportunity, and the real award was just stepping out of Union Station and being here in Washington, D.C., so thank you.
All right, let's bring up the folks from Seeds in Michigan. I saw a crew, so. As they're coming up, this is another project we heard about on Sunday night, very impressive, from a relatively new conservation corps. But Seeds Youth Conservation Corps discovered that a constructive and valuable use for black locust timber at the same time the National Park Service was preparing to remove large stands of it from area parks because it's regarded as an exotic plant in Michigan. We could fill over both sides. Although black locust is considered an invasive species throughout the Midwest, its wood is naturally rot resistant and can last untreated well over 50 years without significant decay. As such, it's a good alternative to chemically treated lumber. Seeds Youth Conservation Corps began using the black locust timber for things like fencing, decking, and firewood. And as a result of Seeds' programmatic investment in black locust products, they've been able to create the equivalent of 2.5 full-time green-collar jobs for local youth and reduce the environmental impacts of traditional decking lumber produced by approximately 95%. So very impressive. Maybe one of you could introduce who you have here, because we love seeing young people.
I'm going to introduce the crew here. David, Brandon, Mike, and Rick McGee, their team leader. They've built some 2,000 feet or more of boardwalk out of black locust lumber for us in the last 2 years. So these guys are great, and we're glad they made it here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're prepared, yeah. Congratulations.
Okay, sorry.
We got your seat, Mike, right here in front.
And a big smile, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Just up the plaque this way a little bit.
Well, I think it's great that you brought that whole crew. I hope you guys are having fun here in DC. but very neat, and it's maybe a good precedent to set that from now on, if you win one of these projects, you need to bring the whole crew to Washington to get the award. So now we're going to recognize Philan Tree, who gave a very moving talk yesterday. I don't know how much you realize it, but there are a lot of folks with teary eyes in the back listening to you, so very impressive. Philan Tree is excelled at sort of building partnerships with other groups and organizations, and she's been instrumental at Coconino Rural Environment Corps, CREC, and building partnerships with several chapters of the Navajo Nation. Her work resulted in memos of understanding between CREC and the LACC and Tonalea chapters of the Navajo. Philan also procured a resolution of support from the Western Agency of the Navajo Nation that allowed CREC's Energy Conservation Corps to provide home weatherization services to many needy Navajo families in Coconino County. In addition, she provided leadership to the first fully Navajo crews that were hired and employed by CREC within the Navajo Nation. Currently, Philan is in Flagstaff working on her degree at Northern Arizona University and hopes to create a sustainable program to aid housing issues with the Navajo Nation. Congratulations, Philan.
I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everybody that's helped me and supported me in making this possible. All the chapters that were there and that really provided a lot of assistance, patience. The Tulani Lake chapter, Bird Springs chapter, Loop chapter, Tonalea chapter, Navajo Nation, and Coconino County and CREC.
All right, so now I'd like to invite Marilee Eckert. I have to talk really loud, but she's out. Oh, there we go. Marilee is going to introduce her congresswoman who's getting one of the Congressional Champion Awards.
Right in like this? No waiting? I love you all. It's my pleasure to introduce Congresswoman Lynn Woolsey, who's been CCNB's, California's 6th District's representative for the past 20 years. She's a longtime champion of disadvantaged youth. Once a young mother on welfare herself, Congresswoman Woolsey knows the importance of providing youth with second chances and the tools and support necessary to succeed. Throughout her 20 years in the House of Representatives, Congresswoman Woolsey has voted for programs and funding streams important to cores, such as AmeriCorps, Welfare to Work, and the Workforce Investment Act. And her support of Conservation North Bay has helped us secure funding for a wide variety of projects, and in return, enabled CCNB to serve thousands of Bay Area youth by providing them with access to education, life skills, and job training, while at the same time completing important and necessary projects throughout the communities in which they live. Congresswoman Woolsey, we will miss you on Capitol Hill. I didn't think I was going to cry. But we wish you well in your retirement. And after you get a well-deserved rest, if you get bored, we're always looking for great board members. So I'd like you to come up and say a few words, and then we'll present your award. Thank you. By yourself.
Good morning. I actually thought Marilee was going to tell me that I could come and learn how to build trash bins. Then I'd have a job for my next career. That'd be all
Well,
right.
you could do that too.
Well, no, except for you don't know how unhandy I am. This is an honor, and your words were wonderful, particularly the catch in your throat, because that's how I feel just about every day around here now, having made the decision after 20 years. And I'll turn 75 next January, and guess what? I want to retire.
Stop being jet lagged all the time?
Yeah, stop being jet lagged every day. But throughout these 20 years, and growing with Marilee and with my community and with your projects has been a source of pride for me, because I've been able to support the work you do over the years and been so proud to do it. If I can play hometown favorites for a second, I have to single out the leaders of the Conservation Corps North Bay back in the 6th District of California. Max Corton, Jenny Party, and especially my friend Marilee Eckert. She's been the driving force and the visionary behind the CCNB, and I thank you so much, all three of you, for your amazing work. I brag about my district all the time, but this is one of the places that I'm given as a gift to brag over, because they do such a good job. CCNB has been serving our community for 3 decades. It's the nation's first local nonprofit conservation corps. And really, they deserve the award that you're going to give me today. Although they have a lot of awards, let me tell you. So I think I'll keep it. I can't think of 2 more noble goals than protecting our national resources and giving at-risk youth a sense of purpose. And oftentimes accomplishing both is less about the laws we pass right here in Washington and more about the energy and the passion of the people like all of you at the grassroots. Every time I visited a site and experienced the Corps in action, particularly at the Corps' new site in Cotati, California, at the Indian Valley College Organic Farm in Novato, I've been in total awe of the young people and the Corps instructors. Whether it's clearing trails, restoring creek beds, recycling trash, or building trash bins, they are genuinely engaged. They are inspired, and believe me, they are inspiring. And most importantly, they're acquiring life skills, learning valuable lessons about being good workers and stewards of our land. So I thank you, not so much for the honor, though I'm very touched by the recognition, but for the way you lead and the way you touch the lives of those who are important to us every single day. Thank you very much.
You guys are checking everything this way now, you know. I'll go this way. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
So now I'd like to bring up Carl Polonius and Ben Thomas from the Rocky Mountain Youth Corps.
So I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Senator Jeff Bingaman, whose support of the Corps movement has never been in question. As a young man in Silver City, Jeff was a member, a participant in the Youth Conservation Corps. As a senator in New Mexico, he helped to sponsor the Public Land Corps Act of 1993, the Healthy Forest Act of 2005, and now is the author, primary proponent of the Public Land Service Corps Act. Senator Bingaman has demonstrated a strong and vocal commitment to improving and expanding opportunities for young people from all walks of life to appreciate and serve as stewards for our nation's public lands and natural resources. His support for national initiatives such as the PLC has helped grow and sustain more than 150 corps that operate in every state and enroll more than 30,000 Corps members annually. His support of the Service and Conservation Corps in New Mexico, including Rocky Mountain Youth Corps, the Wellness Coalition, Eco Corps, Southwest Conservation Corps, through initiatives such as our New Mexican CFRP, Collaborative Forestry Restoration Program. And we really need to thank him also for Walter Dunn, who has camped out in Albuquerque to run that program. That program's been expanded into the Collaborative Forestry Landscape Restoration Program that provide educational and economic opportunities to thousands of local young and accomplishes important and much needed environmental service projects across the state. For this and so much more, we've created an award in your name, Senator Bingaman. It's our pleasure to present you with the Jeff Bingaman Lifetime Service to Corps Award. We thank you for your support over the years, wish you well in this next phase of life. And now you're going to have more time to spend in New Mexico, freedom to spend a little time maybe skiing in Taos, catching a balloon ride at the Balloon Fiesta. Hope you can find a use for this stylish cap. This has been one of the great pleasures of operating a Corps in New Mexico, to have a senator that knows what our priorities are before we do, that is proactive and responsive, and we're certainly going to miss Senator Bingaman.
Thank you very much, Carl, for those overly kind words, and thank you for the award. I'm honored and humbled to receive this. Like all awards that are given to members of Congress, they really should be given to the folks who do the work, and that's their staff. And a couple of those folks are here with me today. Scott Miller and Jorge Silva are back here. Let's give them a big hand. Let me just say, I do think the Corps network that you folks have now is a worthy follow-on to what President Roosevelt had in mind when he set up the CCC. It was a very big part of my state and the entire country and the West in particular. And we have a great many needs in this country to provide opportunities for young people growing up to get involved with productive and constructive employment, and you folks fill that need very effectively. In New Mexico, we are very fortunate. Carl is, I'm sure you all know Carl's great work there at the Rocky Mountain Youth Corps in Taos, and I've had the good fortune to visit with him a couple of times or several times up there, and enjoyed that very much. Sam Costello with the Wellness Coalition in Silver City, my old hometown, is another example of the Corps doing great work. The Southwest Conservation Corps' office there at Acoma Pueblo is another example. So we are very proud of the work that goes on in our state as a result of Corps activities. And I'm sure that all of you who are from other parts of the country have have similar, very worthwhile efforts going on in your states. So, again, I thank you for this award, and we have many months left in this Congress. We're going to do our very best, and Jorge and Scott have assured me that they can get all the ducks in a row here so we can pass some good legislation before we leave. We hope that's the case, and we are going to do our very best to see if we can achieve that. But again, thank you very much, and thank you very much for the cap.
We have a little tripping hazard behind me, so we're going to try to take care of this before we lose one of our congressional champions.
I've been waiting for what to happen. It's been this close every time.
We good? All right, and our photo ops will be better as we move the cord out of the way too. So now we're going to recognize Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio, who was nominated by the WSOS Quilter Conservation Corps. But Senator Brown has been a longtime friend of the Corps Network. Throughout his tenure in the House and the Senate, he supported programs like AmeriCorps and Public Land Corps. And in the last Congress, he introduced the Youth Corps Act to establish a funding stream for Corps at the Department of Labor. We understand he's planning to introduce the act later this week. It has a bill number.
2108 is actually today.
It was introduced yesterday.
Yesterday.
There we go. It was introduced yesterday. Thank you very much. 2108 in the Senate. So those of you going to visits at the Senate side, we'd love to have more co-sponsors for that. But back in Ohio, Senator Brown has helped the Quilter Corps get funding for their efforts to train disadvantaged young people in careers such as clean energy and their Civic Justice Corps program. And WSOS has really become a leader in Ohio in many parts due to the support from Senator Brown. So we want to thank Senator Brown. We have a plaque and we have a staff person who hopefully can say a few words. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for the award, and you took my thunder by announcing that the senator has reintroduced the Youth Corps Act.
Well, sure.
Try to keep this short and sweet. And very nice to meet you, Jackie. Ohio also is home to 2 city-year programs that the senator would be upset if I did not mention, as he is the father of 2 city-year members. Neither of them perform their service in Ohio, but nonetheless, he is a very strong supporter of City Year and many of the other Youth Corps programs throughout the state. Anyone who is going to the House side, or excuse me, the Senate side today and would like to make a push for this legislation, that would be greatly appreciated. Right now, Senator Sanders and Senator Tom Udall are both co-sponsors. So thank you for all of your work that you do here, and thank you for the honor.
We're just weighing you down with more stuff. That's great. Well, thank you very much. So now we're going to bring up Jessica Johnson from the Centennial Job Corps Civilian Conservation Center in Idaho. Jessica is a real great example, as we heard the last few days, about work ethic and determination. She arrived at the Job Corps Center in Idaho with a high school diploma and a strong desire to achieve. She participated in the rigorous physical training required of the Corps' firefighting crew members and earned respect to both the fire crew bosses and her peers. Jessica was dispatched on every fire call and established a well-earned reputation among Forest Service employers at the Boise National Forest. In 2010, she was accepted into advanced fire management training in North Carolina, and then in 2011 was recruited to apply for a seasonal firefighting position with the Boise National Forest. So Jessica is continuing to work as a seasonal firefighter and hopes to obtain full-time employment with the Forest Service in this demanding and vital job. Congratulations. Well, I just mentioned, those of you who don't know, Tony Dixon, walking down, is the director of the National Job Corps for the Forest Service. So 28 Job Corps centers around the country, which is where Jessica was, and they're all members of the Corps network. So a very important part of our membership. Oh, Nick, excellent. There you are. Good. So Nick Jimenez from the Sequoia Community Corps. Growing up, Nick didn't have a stable home life, and which made achieving academic success difficult, as many of us know from folks in our own programs. Nick moved from one foster care center to another, and at one point was even homeless himself. But since joining the Sequoia Community Corps, Nick obtained his high school diploma, enrolled as a full-time college student, and worked as a recycling specialist, which is a very high position at the Corps. Very few Corps members are chosen for it. And then Nick made amazing strides in his home life, moving into his own place, purchasing his own vehicle, and building self-esteem. Nick is working to finish his degree in psychology and hopes to earn a master's degree in the future. So congratulations.
There are a few words I would like to say. I would like to thank my chaperones, Mary Alice, her husband, Marshall, and Gail Johnson. I would also like to thank Byron. You can hang with the rock stars. I'd like to say that. Thank you for this tremendous trip. And also, I want to say that it was a real honor meeting all the Corps members. I really wish Mike was here to hear this, but I feel that you folks are like a long-lost sisters and brothers from another mother. And also, I wanted to say, I really want to come back to DC, and I hope my image wasn't tainted from that video. So I'm not going to remind everyone, but I really want to come back. So thank you very much.
You take a picture with me, dog?
I know.
We'll get one with just you and Byron.
Looks really nice. Everybody look right in the camera, big smile.
So I wonder if I could call Bruce Saito up to talk a little bit about Barbara Boxer, because she's getting an award, but they're going to present it to her in person this afternoon. Oh, Doug? Oh, we'll hold on, Bruce. Hold on just a sec. We'll get Bruce here very, very soon. But I'd like to call Park Smith up to talk about the congressional champion Lloyd Doggett from Texas.
All right, great. All right, thanks, Will. In Texas, it's good to have a champion for service and for conservation work. It's not the most often that we find that, but we're really fortunate to have Congressman Doggett in Austin and in Central Texas particularly, because he's been a longtime supporter of the CORE movement and AmeriCorps youth build programs that we run at American Youth Works. And he's helped just tremendously in many ways, including he helped us get an economic development administration grant for $2 million to do a retrofit on our building for a green jobs training facility, and a service learning academy charter high school where we've served thousands of young people getting their education, life skills, and jobs training to lead to careers. And while at the same time they get to complete important projects in the communities in which they come from. So Mr. Doggett has also worn our AmeriCorps badge in almost every Martin Luther King Day march in Austin. Every year he does this repeatedly. Just a constant champion for youth in action. We're really just so fortunate to have him in our own community. He just recently won an award for the best Texas voter for conservation and environmental issues, and we're really proud of him for that too. So I think without further ado, we bring up Congressman Doggett's staff. He couldn't be with us this morning, but we're just really happy to have a guy like this in our own communities fighting hard for us every day. He's a great champion for CORES.
I'm Andrew, and I handle public youth and education for Congressman Doggett. Congressman Doggett's still in Texas today, so on behalf of Congressman Doggett, thank you for all the important work you do for our communities, and thank you for this award. I'll only say what the Congressman often says, which is that American Youth Works represents the best Austin has to offer. They were training youth for conservation jobs long before they were called green jobs, and there's no better group in Austin training those who others would have turned away and given up on. Thanks again for recognizing his contributions to these important efforts. Thanks.
There we go. One of those work. Thank you, Andy.
So I don't know if I can really officially do this, but I'll accept the recognition and honor for Senator Boxer, and know that if you're running around the Hart Building at about 11:50, we're supposed to actually present her with the award. So if you see a bunch of Californians gathering right by the beautiful sculpture there in the atrium, please join us. Senator Boxer has been a great advocate for the environment, for education, and all good things for the health and the prosperity of the people of not just California, but the United States. It's interesting, as Marilee's here, I don't know if many of you have experienced, but oftentimes some of our electeds, and rightfully so, take credit for starting your core or starting your particular program. But it's really true that way back when Marin County Supervisor, now Senator, Marin County Supervisor Barbara Boxer helped create and start up the Marin Conservation Corps. So she's had a long history of supporting corps and the environment, and she'll be, I'm sure, very happy to receive this award a little later this morning. So thank you.
All right, well, Kelly Causey? Oh, she's probably, oh, there you are. Good, Kelly's still here. I know there's a Colorado event going on, but, oh, good, we have the whole team. So this,
The real ranger.
that's good. Yeah, Kelly was just telling me that they wrote Fort Lewis as the base, which is near us. And I make sure we don't talk about Fort Lewis near Durango and talk about Fort Carson, which is much, much bigger and much more important. This was a really neat project outside of Denver, and I'm proud of it because it's in Colorado where I live. But the National Park Foundation, which is the public land foundation supporting the Park Service, had a Post to Parks project. And it was a collaboration between a Corps, Mile High Youth Corps, a national park, and a military institution. And Corps members of the Mile High Youth Corps in Denver were instructors and mentors to children of military families stationed at Fort Carson near Colorado Springs. And many of the kids who were brought over had parents deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. And the Corps members from Mile High Youth Corps engaged them in a bunch of outdoor activities at Fluorescent Fossil Beds National Monument, which is sort of in eastern Colorado. 17 children in military families were exposed to the great outdoors, gained skills, and developed an ethic of environmental stewardship. And then 9 Corps members got to pass their own knowledge and develop leadership skills, and important work got done in the park. And I think this is a real model for what we could do in other parts of the country. A great project. Congratulations. All right, so now we get to talk about another really outstanding project in Florida. We'd like Congressman Wilson and Debbie Dorsett and the Miami crew to come up front. And I'll start talking as they're coming up, but this is a really fantastic project. The local community faced a bunch of crime around foreclosed and abandoned properties in South Florida and Miami area. And so the Corps started a program that not only addressed the critical community need in a cost-effective manner, but also built skills, academic standing, and community connection for the Corps members who were participating. It was a very innovative partnership with the Miami-Dade Department of Permitting, Environment, and Regulatory Affairs and the Miami-Dade Police Department. Corps members, many of whom themselves were formerly incarcerated or court-involved, earned GEDs, college credit, and industry-recognized certificates, while at the same time they made these abandoned homes and properties safe for the community. Another really innovative project. Congratulations. Thanks so much. And maybe Congressman Wilson, you'd like to say a few words?
Thank you so much. This is just a great day for me that my Service Corps is the recipient of a national award. And I want to tell you they do great work in Miami-Dade County. I am so proud today. And I want you to just give all of them a big hand. I've had this I've been working with them many years. I was a school principal, a school board member, and I have a program in Miami called the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence Project, which is where we take little minority boys in high school, middle school, elementary school, we mentor them, and then we send them to college. So in my office, I have had the Corps members working through the years, working with me, helping me. I mean, it is just wonderful. It's the best kept secret in the nation. So keep up the good work. I'm so proud of Miami-Dade County, and I see my friend and mentor, Ileana, here, so I'm going to give up the mic. Come on.
We are blessed to have a wonderful member of Congress like Frederica. I have to stand a little bit over here because this podium is eating me up. And I go wherever Frederica Wilson tells me to go. And she said, this is an important event, and you've got to come here and congratulate these wonderful individuals who improve our communities in ways big and small. So I want to say congratulations to all the folks who form part of this organization and helping our country pull it together and succeed and get even better and better every day. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. I never block anybody. Miami. All right, thank you.
So we have one final award, and the Congresswoman is on her way, who's going to be joining us to hear about the Paddle the LA River project. So in the fine art of sort of stalling for a couple minutes, I'm going to have Bruce Saito come up and talk a little bit about the project as we're waiting for the imminent arrival of the Congresswoman.
We have staff come up.
Yeah.
Tell a couple jokes.
Sorry about the delay. I believe this is the last presentation, right? So thank you all for bearing with us. So we talked about it, it's in the program, but the Paddle the LA River is special, not just because of the fun things that we all get to do and the funny recognition that the river gets, but it's also because all the work that you do, the ability or the opportunity to engage young folks. And I think Irene talked about it in her presentation. The great things that they get to do that a lot of young folks would never ever get to do. And the Congresswoman has been an incredible supporter of this project, not just the Paddle the River, but the Los Angeles River. And it really speaks a lot to environmental justice issues. It speaks a lot to clean air and clean water. It speaks a lot to very, very important environmental issues, not just Los Angeles, but as they extend all throughout the nation. So it's important for that reasons and many, many more. We had a delegation of folks that were a couple weeks ago meeting with the Congresswoman and people from the Army Corps of Engineers and the National Park Service and other agencies and bureaus. And I think that's another reason why the project is significant, because it means bringing together these different agencies, and George would know it's not an easy thing to do. And particularly Irene would know and Ignacio would know, working with the Army Corps of Engineers is no mean or easy task. It's an interesting, it's a challenging one, but we feel by breaking through these different barriers, one river at a time, that we can do bigger and better things. So let's see, I've run out of jokes, but so Ignacio, maybe you could say a word about your experiences and how, I know you talked a lot yesterday, but just on a personal level, how did you happen to come to the LA River?
Like Bruce said, it wasn't easy. It was a challenge dealing with the Army Corps of Engineers. But we, like he said, we did break through. We started a month late, but we actually had a good fun. Not a lot of people know about the LA River. People think about it that it's a dirty river. It's not really a river because it's made out of concrete. Well, the Army engineers made it into concrete because it's a way to get water out of the city of LA as fast as possible. So they decided to make it all into concrete, channelize it. But little by little, some of the areas are actually naturally, and that's where we actually paddled. Not a lot of people know it, but it's 51 mile long. It's not Mississippi River. So we actually had fun paddling through the river. We did make history, like Bruce said. It's after 100 years, we actually paddled it legally. I kind of ran out of jokes also, so we kept paddling and paddling.
I know we paddled. How are you doing? Okay. So, let's open it up for a question and answer period. What do you all think about Rob? Yes, Carol? No, I didn't finish. What do you think about Rob, or do you have any questions for Rob about this particular?
Get the mic away from Bruce.
Project Bruce, can you tell us about the core members and what they did in this project? Describe a day in the life of a core member on the LA River.
What?
So how many folks are going to the Hill or to visit members later today? All right, good group. As you can see, what you do, members of Congress listen to you. They love what you guys do. Go tell them your story. We heard from Sherrod Brown's office. He introduced yesterday a bill that would create a funding stream at the Department of Labor to support the kinds of work you do. So please go to the Senate side and ask for support for that bill. Go to the House side and ask for the Youth Corps Act that has been already introduced. Co-sponsors of that. The Public Land Service Corps Act, Senator Bingaman introduced that on our behalf. He's been trying to get it to the floor. Please talk to your senators about moving that bill to the floor. It's really important. We're really looking for co-sponsors on the House companion bill to the Public Land Service Corps Act. Congressman Grijalva introduced that earlier this year. We don't have a lot of co-sponsors on there, but we have in the past, so we have a lot of work to do there. And Congresswoman Velasquez, who couldn't join us today, introduced the Civic Justice Corps Act. We have a lot of really good friends in Congress and in the administration, and they do what we ask them to do on your behalf because you go and talk to them and you get them into your districts. So we have one-pagers, we have talking points. So please, it really does make a difference. I know it's, you think you're sitting down with a staffer and it's really not that big of a deal. The staffers are really the ones who do all the work. You saw Scott Miller and Jorge Silva back there. They have been fighting tirelessly for you guys, for this Public Land Service Corps Act for years. Every bill that goes to the floor, Congresswoman Woolsey's staff, they're the ones who make it happen. So when you meet with the staff, tell them what you do, tell them your projects, tell them the young people that you're affecting in their district and what, if these funding streams, if national service went away, what that would mean to your program. So do we?
Mention the letter that Congresswoman Woolsey suggested, and then because that's not in any.
Sure. On the way out, Congresswoman Woolsey pulled us aside and said that she would like to do a letter, get all of the House colleagues on a letter saying support President Obama's request for national service, which is the current level. So. So we're going to get with her staff, but if you meet with your own members of Congress, ask them to expect a letter coming from Lynn Woolsey's office and supporting the President's request for full funding of national service. Important stuff. Does anybody have any questions about going to the Hill or? Yes, please.
One other thing that's in the process of really being pushed right now is the recreational trails program. So it's out of Department of Transportation, but anyone who gets trail funding through your state parks, it's through this program. It's been an $85–90 million funding source that a lot of it goes to Corps, and the bill in the Senate right now eliminates it. It kind of lumps it in with highways, so states can build highways or trails, and most of them will choose highways. So there's an amendment going on from the senator from Minnesota.
Amy Klobuchar.
Thank you, Len Price. So you want to support the amendment from
Amy Klobuchar.
Right. Yeah. But please, when you talk on the Senate side, we do need all the support we can get for that one, or that, which has been a really good funding stream, will disappear. And that, I think they're voting on this week, so it's very timely that we're here for that part.
Mary Ellen, the other thing that I think is a little confusing is the transportation, what we want for transportation, so if you could give some clarity on that.
Sure.
Because the handout's a little bit.
So Harry mentioned a really good point about transportation funding. A lot of Corps rely on what's called recreational trails program. I will get off. I understand that the member we've all been waiting for is here. No?
Yeah.
She's supposed to.
I think he's briefing.
What you just said.
Okay, so really quickly, there are a couple of transportation programs that cores really rely on transportation enhancements, or TE, rec trails. In the Senate, they lump all these programs together, as Harry was saying, and they block grant them to states and let them decide whether they're going to spend it on trails or highways. We want to keep these as two distinct funding streams, so if you're talking to your members about that, it's in your talking points and it's in your priorities. On the House side, although the recreational trails program is kept separate, this TE, transportation enhancement, which is I think an $800 million program. It's big. And we've actually made some progress in recent year, actually over the last year, to get CORES access, more access to that funding. However, if it goes away and it's sort of consumed by this larger federal highways for funds, then the progress that we have made really doesn't make a difference. So in the Senate, we're asking that transportation enhancement and rec trails be pulled out. In the House, we're asking that transportation enhancement be pulled out as well as rec trails. And I will yield.
All right, so we're up for our final award. We've heard a lot about the LA River project, a fantastic project. After the city of LA passed a motion requesting a feasibility study for non-motorized boating on the LA River, which we know is 51 miles long. The LA Conservation Corps got involved and developed partnerships across broad levels. The program gave 8 Corps members opportunity to design, implement, and operate the first legal public non-motorized boating project on the LA River. Provided the Corps members with all the great kind of skills, environmental awareness, knowledge of the river, and the Corps members also participated in 1-week training on river and water rescue and got first aid, CPR, canoe and kayaking skills. We've seen pictures, we've heard from the folks who put it together. It's really a fantastic project, and our honor to present the award to the LA Conservation Corps, and we'd love to ask the Congresswoman to give a few remarks as well. Okay.
Thank you very much. This is really a very exciting moment for me because the LA River project is really very special, especially being born and raised in Los Angeles and understanding what promise it holds. And this is a very well-deserved award, and I want to say congratulations for being named Project of the Year. The Paddle the LA River will help to further raise awareness of our efforts, and it will also help young people in our community to learn, to grow, and to develop. And so I want to thank all of you for all your efforts on behalf of the LA River, and particularly the project of Paddle the LA River. You're contributing far more than you realize to not only to the future of the city, but to the young people who are responsible for it. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
So this is just about the end of the award ceremony. I'm going to let Mary Ellen just say a couple sort of parting shots about the congressional visits that everyone is about to jump into, and then we're going to conclude.
Don't mind me.
Okay, so really quick, I think you have some forms in your packets asking you who you visit with, whether it's a member or a staff, and sort of any comments you have for us so we can follow up. This is really important, so if you could remember to fill those out and return them to us, that would be great. So thanks so much for everything, and Go get them.
All right.